Tell me. Okay, so I appreciate it. Hey, Michelle, oh, thanks so much for joining us. So this is one of our weekly sessions for the TSC Pros where we are doing training. We've had a number of different partners on, and this week we get to have Michelle from SolarEdge, who leads up just all the technical training, all the training. Great individual, great. I've been have had the privilege of knowing her for, gosh, I think it's been about 2 years now, hasn't it been, Michelle? I think about that time.
At least, yep.
Yeah, so she definitely hooked us up with all travel stuff and even helped me and my family with the rewards trip that we did out to Hawaii, which was a lot of fun as well. So, as everybody knows, the battery technology, the landscape is changing. More and more homeowners are wanting to go solar with battery tech, putting themselves into a protective bubble. I think in the last day, because of all the wildfires that have been going on in Southern California, I have been bombarded with about at least five different referrals and messages and things just in the last day. So more and more homeowners are really wanting to get ahead of this with a complete solar and battery backup solution. Just that's just one bit of it, right? The rate arbitrage, all the stuff with the utility rate hikes, it's continuing to climb, especially in California, but not just here, all across the United States, in Texas and Florida and the Carolinas. I think my family in the Northeast just got hit with an epic snowstorm that was so freaking wide, ice down trees, all of that. So this tech is definitely going to be needed well into the future. So, Michelle, I want to go ahead and turn it over to you for whatever you want to talk about with the training and everything. And everybody, feel free to jump in with questions where appropriate. And let's go.
Sure. Thanks for the intro, Jordan. Yeah. So, team, I'm going to go through some nuggets today that I want to make sure this group knows and is aware of with SolarEdge. But first and foremost, just like Jordan said, jump in when you have questions. I want to make it interactive as much as possible. Um, Fun fact, not so fun fact. In the last couple of days in California, they have turned off a lot of people's power, and we have about 1,600 people in those territories that had backup batteries that turned on and worked. And if California, a lot of people work from home, and a lot of those people had their power off, but their battery working. And so it was definitely a win seeing it real time, actually working in the field. So just confirm you can see my screen. Okay.
Confirmed.
All right. So an exciting thing, this last year is we opened up two major manufacturing facilities. So all of the inverters that you're selling right now are coming out of Texas, Austin, the best city in Texas. And that's our manufacturing facility there. Then we have another facility in Florida where all our optimizers are coming from. And so I'm sure this team has heard just the buzzword domestic manufacturing. It's the biggest thing people are talking about in manufacturing right now. So our components are manufactured in America. Our battery is now being manufactured in America. So virtually all of our components for the residential space are being built here. It's a huge win. We got those up and running very quickly. As a part of that, I'd be remiss not to remind this team that only power is eligible for this, and we have a couple of weeks left. So until January 31st, you have the ability to win a trip to Clearwater, Florida to go to our factory. But not just that, go sailing, have some fun, do some cool things in Clearwater, which is a beautiful location in Florida. So we're looking for 5 mentors, 5 sales reps with the most batteries sold in the power platform. So keep that going. We have a couple weeks left. Okay, so this is what I like to think about with SolarEdge, and I sold solar for a long time before I came here, and I always sold SolarEdge, and that's not a joke. I mean, we were able to offer several solutions, and I was always kind of a nerd for the SolarEdge products because I thought the optimizers were a really cool concept, and SolarEdge is the only company that does that effectively. We kind of made the optimized solution known in the area. And so this is what we like to think about at SolarEdge is we want salespeople to get paid faster We do that by avoiding electrical upgrades like main service panel upgrades and simplifying the installation. We want you to get paid more. So you actually have the ability to sell larger systems with SolarEdge because of design flexibility. And we'll talk about that a tad bit more in a bit. And then we have all of our add-ons through the home ecosystem. And then we have found that using my SolarEdge, salespeople have been able to get more referrals because of the visibility of my SolarEdge app and how that follows every single component within the solar system. Okay, so the big question I want to ask this group, this is one of the most intelligent groups that I've worked with previously, so I know that this team will know this answer. Quiz question. Can you install a SolarEdge inverter without optimizers? Ooh, okay. I know I see Nick and Mark shaking their head. Okay. So the optimized solution always will have optimizers. And this is always going to have optimizers on the roof. They're module level power electronics, similar to microinverters, but here's the difference. They allow each module to work independently. But what we're actually doing is we're moving around the energy that is being produced on that roof to really maximize what's going on. We do this on purpose, this architecture, because we want to convert that energy at one location, which is that inverter on the wall. This is, for homeowners, what it means is much higher energy production. What it means for installers, though, is much more simplified repair, replacement, any of that that's needed. Because the inverter is the item that has the most critical components of anything in the solar system. Like the modules, they're just, collecting energy. The optimizers, they're just shifting around that energy. Racking, those types of things don't typically need replacement, but the inverter is the thing that has the brain. And so if you have one of those and it's on the wall, it's a much easier thing to maintain. So just looking at the what's happening on the roof, with the optimizers, we want those solar panels to reach their full potential if they're able. One of the misconceptions that I hear a lot of sales reps say is, well, I thought with SolarEdge, when one module went down, the rest of the system was impacted. And that's a string inverter solution, right? You guys happen to have a string inverter solution that you're working with right now in Tesla, and that's what happens with that system. But because we have the module level power electronics and the optimizers, when one module is shaded, the rest of that system will not be impacted. Every single module is working independently. But not only that, this optimizer that's next to this underperforming module, it's going to start working overtime to make up for the underperformance. So earlier when I said that we shift the energy and we manipulate what's going on the roof, that's what those optimizers are doing. They're able to actually shift their voltage to make up for underperforming modules on the roof. In a microinverter solution, the really good news is that each module is working independently, but because that energy is being converted on the roof, you end up with clipping on a module level because there's only a certain amount of energy that can be converted up there. So I like to just say, and with homeowners too, to simplify it, we want your solar panels to reach their full potential if they're able to. If you have a 400 watt module, we want it to be able to reach that capacity if it can, if that sun is in a great spot on the roof. I thought I might have seen a question. Oh, great question, Ian. So modules increasing in size, SolarEdge create a larger optimizer. We already have. So there is a S440 that you guys are using right now. We actually have a S650 for residential. And so we can go up to a 650 watt module in residential, which seems excessive. If you ask me, they're huge. So yeah, we have that one available. Okay, so with string inverters, you're at the mercy of mismatch. A lot of people think, well, just shading, those types of things, string inverters are a challenge. But you got to think about these other things too. If there's one module not working because it's cracked, that's going to cause every module in that string to be impacted. The tilt where the sun's at, every module in the string is going to be impacted, not just shading or soiling. So when you think optimizers and you think SolarEdge, it's really energy production increase. You're getting the maximum amount. There's a very large company. We can say probably the largest residential company. You can guess. I'm not going to say their name, but they sell Tesla and SolarEdge as well. And very consistently with SolarEdge, same system size, they get a 3 to 4% offset increase on the homeowner's utility bill when compared to a Tesla system because of our architecture and those optimizers. Okay, so Mark, so does the 650 function with the 410? So you can pair the 650 with the 410 or 425. And some people do. Some people have just standardized on 650 because they know they're going to have a larger wattage module soon. But it's a more expensive optimizer. So, if you can stick with the 440 for a while, I think that that's kind of the what people are doing at least, because that's going to work with that 410 or 425 as well. Anything under 440. Okay, so I am not going to be like rose colored glasses right now and assume that every single person is going to sell SolarEdge 100% of the time, because I know that you have a system that you're offering that is a very inexpensive solution, and go with that. If it means closing the deals, go with that in some cases. But I want to ask this group, do you have a situation that is a perfect fit for a SolarEdge system that you can think of?
What I've found is the system sizes that are 7 to 10 kW just seem to be like right in that sweet spot for SolarEdge with a couple of batteries. Just the pricing point that we get is solid. And then there's no main panel upgrades, like direct. I just sold a system with 2 SolarEdge batteries on a non-backup configuration because the homeowner just wanted a lowest entry point, never loses power. I said, you know what, you're going to be able to retrofit this in the future if you want to do it. Owen just said ground mounts. That's another huge one. Like we're putting, that's the only place. I mean, that's the only thing on the ground mount. I have a huge ground mount that I'm doing with SolarEdge as the primary, secondary batteries that need a little more oomph on the frame. Owen knows what I'm talking about, but again, it's all about the design and the solution for the homeowner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great solution. So 7 to 10 is a sweet spot with 2 batteries. Consumption only, absolutely, is a great option. If you're talking about, so consumption only, just to back up slightly, this is a homeowner that doesn't need backup, that doesn't have power outages. Like Jordan mentioned, that's kind of few and far between at this point, especially in California when people are all thinking about these fires. So I want to reiterate that we obviously have backup capabilities also. We definitely sell our battery with backup capabilities. But in terms of price point, if you're going up against the competition in the house and your system is considerably higher than the competition, and you need to win out on price, Jordan's totally right. 7 to 10 kW, 2 batteries, consumption only, is going to provide and yield more power for that homeowner. And it's going to be at a competitive price point to the other solution. If you're going into the house and you're just thinking, when should I use SolarEdge, or when should I start with SolarEdge as the beginning? For one, every single person on this team can sell a premium product and sell against a less expensive solution if we wanted to. But I want to think about when you're going into the house and you're going into a competitive bid. If there is a homeowner that has shading or obstructions at all, and that homeowner is being sold a string inverter, it is not an effective solution for that homeowner. Um, they will not yield the production that they need. And so it's a consideration. If you're going up against it in the house, be the educated salesperson and say, we have a solution that's going to give you much higher production for what you're looking for. And because you, Mr. Homeowner, you have a big tree in your front yard, right? So that's one solution. Multi-level roof planes. So we really, really hit the sweet spot here. And it's because of those optimizers. It's called maximum power point tracking, where these optimizers are really leveraging where that sun's at any given time during the day. So if that sun is, over here on the sky, then this roof plane is going to be producing at its highest level. This is still going to be producing, but probably, a little bit less because where the sun's at. And then as that sun goes over the sky, those optimizers are going to start working overtime on this side to really maximize what's happening on that roof plane. And so when we have the multi-level roof planes, that is a really great solution for a SolarEdge system.
I've noticed something too, Michelle,
Yep.
that so because I bounce between two different the string and the SolarEdge, and then the more roof planes you have, the more complicated it gets to do a string inverter to begin with. So anything that's super complex on a roof line should immediately be going to a solar system with optimizers because you're not going to run into the same problem considerations, the shading, everything like that. I noticed that the other day on a system.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I mentioned earlier about selling bigger systems and design flexibility. So totally. I mean, the design flexibility of our systems, what we can do on one string of modules versus 3 to 4 of a string inverter, we can actually do one string on multiple roof planes. We don't have to do a different string on every single roof plane. So absolutely, design simplification is a big, huge thing. So again, consumption only batteries is a good sweet spot, and then backup if that homeowner needs it. I know Jordan said you can retrofit later. That is also a solution if that homeowner doesn't have a ton of blackouts today, but is considering later. They can do that. So I do want to mention, yeah. So Owen, yes. So he needs the Energy Hub, and it should always be Energy Hub, anyways. So we are going to go through that inverter, but so actually, remind me, does Power even have the regular inverter in the system anymore, or is it all Energy Hub?
Don't know.
We still have it, but it's been diminished. Like we're all using the Energy Hub as much as possible, just because of how more robust it is and as the LTE backend. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not choosing anything other than Energy Hub when I'm designing
Good.
SolarEdge anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I know that they're looking to standardize on it anyways, and so definitely good best practice just to use Energy Hub. One thing that homeowners like to hear a lot too is that SolarEdge can actually start up sooner in the morning and stay on later at night. So this is another reason why we can produce more energy on the roof. We can actually start up at 8 volts of energy, whereas a microinverter solution is like a 25-volt scenario. So that's something to also bring up. Selling SolarEdge as kind of a premium solution where you're going to get increased production. SolarEdge specializes in solar. We've only worked in solar ever, as opposed to the car company that's now gotten into solar. So I think that, those are advantages that you can bring up in the field. So here's our little home hub, the Nugget. I like to call him the R&D people don't like that I call it the Nugget. But this is our Energy Hub. And so here's all of our sizes that we have available. I know that this team typically is working through like a 7.6 or a 10. And I would just keep going with that. I think that the more you can just use, 1 or 2 inverter sizes, the better. But just as a note, there is, an LTE cell card within this. There's a production and consumption meter within this. And so it is kind of an inverter deluxe, which is why you should use it all the time. And this is obviously, if you're adding batteries today or later, you're always going to need this home hub. So that's another reason why we should be using this one. Okay, so I just wanted to do a quick refresher on our ecosystem. We have all of these products available. They're all through my SolarEdge, but I really want to focus a bit on the batteries. So we call our consumption battery Rate Saver. Has this whole team been selling consumption only batteries, or has most of us been still sticking with the backup? You can even just shout it out or put it in the chat. I'm trying to, just backup. Okay.
Backup.
Yeah.
Mostly backup.
Backup mostly.
Great,
The
great.
only time I'm doing non-backup is usually on a loan when somebody wants the lowest cost of entry, and then I know they can switch it later. If it's on a TPO, it's backup all the way.
Yes, great best practice. And I would say, so I had gone and sold a couple of systems, and I think that the challenge with consumption only is that selling the value of backup seems to be a stronger value proposition than saying like, oh, hey, you're going to have a big battery on your house, but you're not going to have power in an outage. And so I think that if you can sell backup whenever able, then just sell backup. But for those homeowners that don't need are in California and don't are in California or anywhere that wants to do consumption and arbitrage, and then doesn't have any blackouts in their area, this consumption only battery is a good solution. I think one of the big questions I get is this a different battery than the backup battery? And it's not, it's the same battery. It's just missing the backup interface, which is disconnecting the home from the grid. But just remember, we can do full backup. You can do up to 9 batteries per house, 3 batteries per inverter. So that's helpful. These are 10 kilowatt hours each. And so 3 batteries, 4 batteries in most cases, what we're seeing, if it's not just like an excessive consumption for a home, is a good backup, full home backup solution. 3 batteries or so. And, this is another efficiency gain piece where our batteries are on the DC side. It allows us to convert at only one location. So that allows us to save a lot more energy to go into the house, as opposed to the triple conversion penalty of a microinverter solution where you're converting that energy 3 different times before using it in the home. This is the piece where, we are limiting main panel upgrades. Another reason why we want to have that inverter on the wall, because it allows us to wire all of those smart energy devices into the inverter, which will limit the strain on the main service panel. So we do limit main panel upgrades for that reason. Okay, does everybody have my SolarEdge downloaded on your phone? Is it something that you use in consultations? Tara, I saw, at least people are honest. And she says, I have it downloaded, but so I like to use it during bill review. And I also like to download it on the homeowner's phone because the homeowner, for one, likes technology and likes to see this follow them throughout the night. We have demo sites available. So if this team doesn't have my SolarEdge downloaded on your phone, just download it from an app store. You'll see a demo site button at the bottom of the login screen. And there's several different types of installations on there. So you'll see there's ones with batteries, ones with EV chargers, ones with generators, ones with PV only. And the reason why I like homeowners to download it is 2 reasons. One, they can see all of those demo sites too. But two, when they do have an installation of their solar system, they'll already have my SolarEdge downloaded on their phone. So it's one less step that they have to do. And three, what I'll just keep going down the list of advantages. So three, what they also do a lot of times is they will see what happens with a battery and they will tend to sell themselves on add-ons because they're like, oh, so this is the full ecosystem of products. What about the battery? What about the EV charger? And so it'll allow them to watch it throughout the night and see that interaction with the other components. So this is the dashboard they'll see. The reason I like to use this in bill review is, homeowners have the realization during bill review that, wow, number one, I don't even know what I was paying for with the utility company. I don't know how to read my utility bill. I'm kind of in the dark. And so this gives them the alternative. And that's when I like to bring this out and say, well, let me show you what you could have for your energy needs for your house. This will show you what you're producing, how much you're consuming, and when you're producing solar, where that energy is going. Is it going to the house, the battery, the car, the grid? And it will, especially in these places where it's not advantageous to send energy back to the grid anymore, the profiles within my SolarEdge will prioritize everything else before it prioritizes sending to the grid. So it's going to really consume that energy within the home and within the devices before it sends to the grid. Speaking of those battery modes, we actually have one additional. Homeowners can now set their battery mode and change their battery mode if they want. Maximize self-consumption is going to essentially make a circular motion with that solar power. So it's going to try to not pull from the grid as much as possible. And it's going to charge the battery and then discharge the battery instead of pulling from the grid at any time. So that happens in real time. Time of use will be discharged at peak times during the day. And those are set by the actual utility that customer's in. And then backup only is going to just stay in backup. The fourth one that we have is a custom mode where the homeowner can actually set exactly when that battery discharges. And so they have that option too, based on their energy appetite and their habits in the home. So I do want to reiterate, because I did get 3 questions yesterday from power reps in California about if there is a blackout and the homeowner is set for time of use mode or self-consumption mode, will that battery still turn on in an outage? And absolutely, right? So that battery, if it's set up for backup, is always going to prioritize turning on in an outage scenario, as well as discharge during time of use times if the power's not out, right? So if the power's out, then it's just going to power the house. That's what it's being used for. If the power is not out, then it's going to discharge during peak times. And WeatherGuard, which did trigger in Southern California yesterday because of the winds, WeatherGuard will actually automatically charge the battery to full capacity before a power outage. And high winds will do that in this scenario. So that is an additional safety measure. Okay, those are the nuggets I wanted to share today. I really want to prioritize any questions if we have any. Does anybody have anything that we did not cover that you're thinking about?
Anything new coming?
Yeah, so new SolarEdge battery. So the domestic battery is out now. So the battery that is built in America. Um, but it looks the same as the one now. It's pretty much just built here. The new one that you might have seen at RE Plus this last year, the stackable, that should be out by like Q3, Q4. And it looks like um, Tara wants the recording. So Jordan has the recording.
Thanks, Jordan.
Um, the service truck. So you mean the I don't know if I know what you
You
mean,
you
Tara.
provide a special service to
Oh,
your
thank you.
seller. I
Yes.
may be calling it wrong. Sorry.
No, no, no. So thank you. I'm like, did we build a truck? So I'm like, no. So thank you for bringing that up. So just for power, right? So we have an exclusive power service agreement where we will actually work with Power directly to send trucks out to service products if there is no technical support in the area that's readily available. So we do have some trucks that are out in particular markets that are our field service engineers that will service systems if we need to.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the backup amps per SolarEdge inverter, yeah, all of them are standard now to 11.4 continuous power. Um, so they all have an 11.4 continuous power rating. You have to have two batteries on the inverter in order to hit that. But if you need the actual amperage, yes, I can send that over.
Yeah, I guess, sorry, my question, I'm off camera because my 2-year-old's a terrorist. The what is the amperage backfeed like for
Oh,
before we trigger like main panel
thank you.
upgrades?
Yeah.
And actually, additionally, what we're seeing, I have 3 projects which are a nightmare. We can't install because PG&E is calling for transformer upgrades and they're
Hmm.
TPO, so we can't do PCS settings. So it's welcome to my life. I'm just trying to figure out solutions where we don't have to deal with that.
Okay, so the 7.6 is on a 40 amp breaker. So if you have and I can send a list, but if you have a 200 amp service panel, then a 7.6 is a good solution. And on a 7.6, we can go up to like a 10.64 with power, I think 10.6 for DC. Let's see. Yeah.
It's the 140% cap. Is that what?
Yep. Yep. So 10.64 kW on a 7.6 inverter on a 40 amp back feed.
And
Uh,
I'm expecting PG&E to hit full hard on this because I brought it up to power that 2 standard Powerwall 3s has 2 inverters, and when
yeah.
PG&E looked at the line diagram, that's 23 kilowatt inverter. Which
Right.
that's a lot. So that
Yeah.
there, it's not gonna. I know it's domestic content, but now you're gonna see pushback on that as well, which could be an advantage with SolarEdge.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very great point. And that's kind of yeah, that is what we're seeing. In the situations, Owen, that you're running into with these projects, they're not allowing for like a main panel D rate instead of a
We're doing meter collar, so we do the
oh,
bus. And PG&E, I had my installer reach out to PG&E and CPUC, and they agreed with we can change PCS settings, but then you can't do that with leases because leases have production guarantees. So if you do
right.
PCS settings, you're turning off your solar system when it's going to backfeed to the grid,
Yeah.
but you can't do that with production guarantees. So one of the other shenanigans we've been dealing with. So. My theory is if I change this to SolarEdge with the 7.6 and PG&E looks at it opposed to a 23 kilowatt inverter and it's 8 kilowatts anyway, like it's overkill with those inverters. Like,
Yep.
can we do this without a transformer upgrade or even PCS settings?
Yeah. You definitely should be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
a
think
great point.
I think you have to change it to loans, which just brings back not just SolarEdge promotion, screw TPO is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm over it. It's a
Tell us how
nightmare.
you really feel, Owen.
I'll take off my mic so you can see how much
Always does.
I love TPO. It's great. Like extra engineers coming in that graduated college at a JC telling our engineers what to do. Like, no thanks.
It's so funny. So, I mean, who has been in solar for over, let's say, 5 years, 6 years here? Anybody? It's like, how many times have we gone back and forth with TPO versus loan, TPO versus loan? It's like TPO is like the big thing, and then everyone's back to loan because it's a big hassle. I feel like it's just this back and forth that we run into.
I think there's just more to it than them just getting involved. Like
Yeah.
we can install these projects right now. We just change
Mhm.
PCS settings, but they won't pay us on partial PTO. So I'm just sitting here with no solutions, and I hate not having solutions. So just
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Michelle, can you clarify, please? When the grid is down and someone's operating on battery backup, what's the maximum continuous amps flow that a two battery solution supports?
So a two battery solution is going to support 11.4. Every
Okay.
inverter that we have, well, each battery is 5 kW. So three batteries would be 11.4. So it would be 10 kW on one inverter.
Okay. Thanks.
What else, guys?
A different question I would have would be, can SolarEdge provide any kind of reliability data, particularly around the energy hubs versus the previous generation of
Mhm.
inverters? So it's a reality check issue in the market if somebody begins to do research around the failure and replacement rate of SolarEdge inverters. And so I wonder if you have that kind of data that shows reliability, operational percentage, reliability versus the older stuff, or just even what the new stuff is, in terms of replacement rate or anything like that.
Sure. Yeah, we do have a couple of slides that I could send over that would illustrate that. Are you hearing from homeowners that they're running into seeing those things?
The ones who do research, yes, they're running into that. They've asked me about SolarEdge's financial viability as well, in terms of doing research into the uh, profitability, stability of the company, that kind of thing. So um, I handle that only as it comes up, of course. Um, yeah, but on other jobs I've done over the years, I've probably seen a substantially higher replacement rate of SolarEdge inverters than Enphase microinverters. So I think it would be good when selling newer product to be able to offer some kind of data that shows the reliability information of the new Energy Hub inverters.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I will send something over to Jordan to disseminate. So, one of the major things too about the domestic manufacturing is uh, some very robust changes within our inverter. So when they're now built in Texas, they have automotive grade capacitors in them, which have a higher heat threshold. Just they last longer. They can withstand severe elements and outside. Essentially, it's capacitors within cars.
Right.
So that has helped a lot. And the graphs that I would be sending over will illustrate that.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So question in the chat about the EV charger. It comes with, yes, it comes with a cord. The charger will come with a 25-foot extended length cord, and then it also comes with standard A plug. So if that homeowner decided they wanted to use it as a standalone in a 240 outlet, they could do that too, instead of wiring it into the inverter. Well, it looks like we're done. Thank you so much for having me, though. It was great to see everybody. I feel like I haven't seen this team for a while. But 5 hours of meetings already, and you needed breakfast. Where's your walking desk, though? That's what I'm looking for. Did you already get your exercises? Oh, you're on mute.
Standing desk is behind me. I go back and forth between the desks.
Okay.
Nice to see you again. Thank
Yeah,
you
you
for coming
too.
today and setting it up with Jordan.
Sure. Yep. I'm here anytime you guys need me. I'll put my info in the chat real quick, just in case you need it. And I'm here whenever you need me. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Georgina, for putting this
Thanks,
together.
Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank
Talk
you.
soon.